This is the news on You Call That Radio. But how are you actually supposed to do the news these days? How are you supposed to cover it? Everything's a breaking story. And by the time you take in the information and you come to an opinion, the news changes again. Today, I was about to do a thing talking about the projections, the giant projections, the giant photograph of Trump and Epstein outside Windsor Castle from Led by Donkeys. I was going to talk about the big advertising board that was on a car and how journalists were questioned, detained, and then released. So I was just going to do it, and it was going to be upbeat, because I was going to say it's good to see people are getting bammed up again. And I was going to say, you know, that was good. That was quite positive. I liked that. But then I sort of fell down the rabbit hole of watching Trump and Charles, Melania, and Camilla with their big hats on, watching horses doing, going clippity clop, dressage, horses, people in hats, pomp, ceremony, and utter bullshit. And I just was watching it, thinking, what is this? What does the rest of the world think about this? Because I'm on this island, and it's just arseholes in castles, war criminals and sex criminals, all coming together to compare Rolexes. Just fake nonsense. And then I was going to talk about that, and I was like, well, why are we even talking about that? You know, the president, he's the president again. And he's came to the UK to just boast about how he's the only president ever get 2 state visits. I can't talk about that anymore. I can't talk about it. I woke up in a good mood when I seen the projection screens, and I'm like, what is that achieved? It's good to see people getting bammed up again, but the president still gets his wee sleepover in a castle, his favourite castle, the greatest castle of all time. He still gets his ego stroked by a king. What century are we in? What century is this? I don't want to. I don't want to talk about that much anymore. It just feels like by being a dick and trying to put tariffs up, he managed to get a big fancy dinner, which means a lot to him for whatever reason. To me, it just seems like a shite party for shite people. Bland music, fake chat, just everyone pretending that they like each other when they clearly don't. And what is it all for? You know what? It's getting late now. I should probably just wait, because everything's always a breaking news story. So by the time I do this, it's already changed. Because my prediction is that it'll still rip Starmer off and make him pay tariffs. That's what I would predict will happen now. The tariffs are important to me personally, because I just had to go to the post office 2 days ago to send a vinyl to America. And it cost 40 quid. 40 quid postage and packaging. I think I only charged 8. So I'm just posting £30 will Starmer make a deal so that vinyl won't cost me 50 quid to send a vinyl. Will that change? I know that they won't even mention it. I think he's after the steel industry, and I know that the steel industry is more important to the media. But I mean, I've not done the maths. But why does nobody ever think about the amount of money that the music industry brings into the UK? Why does nobody ever talk about the nighttime economy? Why do you think people visit places like London and Manchester and Glasgow? Why are people going there? They're not going there for the weather. And an argument you hear a lot from royalists is that the royal family brings in a lot of tourism. The people that say that are also the same people that don't like foreigners. And I can guarantee you, if Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle were just open to the public, you'd get even more tourists. This stuff is over. The Queen is dead. Let's just move on. The only people who enjoy the pomp and ceremony are people like Donald Trump, dictators, royal correspondents, and the British equivalent of the people that believe in the American dream. This shouldn't make you proud. This is a shameful parade of gluttony and corruption as the rest of the country starves. I want to commend Led by Donkeys. That was a piece of art today. I liked that. It put me in a good mood for a wee while, and then I just watched royal correspondents just chirping away endlessly, calling Donald Trump a well-renowned Anglophile and trying to not mess their words up. The one thing that sort of stands out today as well is someone actually changed their mind on the internet today, which I haven't actually seen happen for about 10 years. It was about something inconsequential, but the reason it's important, I'll tell you in a second why, because it made me almost do the same. But it was an Eminem, it was an old Eminem song, some sort of meme. I think it was Biff Tannen, who ironically was supposed to be based on Donald Trump, who became president in Back to the Future, which is a weird thing, but we'll go into that another time. But it was an Eminem video, and somebody went, I loved it back in the day when nobody got offended. And I was like, that's not the case. I grew up when Eminem's albums came out, and people were offended all the time about things Eminem said. In fact, the second album was basically Eminem talking about how he doesn't care if you're offended. He's going to do what he wants anyway because he just doesn't give a and all that. So when I said that, the person went, no, you're right. The person actually went, you're actually right. People did get offended. But at least I liked it then because at least artists trolled us or something like that. I can't remember. I didn't really agree with the person because I think in general we disagree because the point they were trying to make is the old days people didn't get offended, which isn't really true if you know the history of censorship and Mary Whitehouse era and stuff like that. But I just thought I was just stunned that that person would actually just go, do you know what? You're right. People did get offended. And just corrected himself. And that doesn't happen anymore on the internet. And then just about an hour ago, I think I shared I'd shared on, you call that radio's Facebook page, one of the big photographs, the giant photographs of Donald Trump with his good friend Jeffrey Epstein. And somebody commented saying, it's the liberal way of talking about the Epstein files to distract from the fact that they're war criminals. And obviously, It's an American, because the way that they're using the word liberal, you can tell that they're American. But I wasn't expecting the caveat of they're war criminals. Why are we not focusing on the fact that they're war criminals? And it's genuinely left me a bit stumped. Trump and Starmer and Netanyahu are committing genocide, live stream genocide on a mass scale. And yet, we're talking about the Epstein files, and he's talking about how he's painting the ballroom in the Oval Office, and it's going to be a great ballroom. But let's end this topic on a slightly brighter note. What did Prince Andrew do today? He actually lives in Windsor Castle. What was he doing? Well, everybody's watching the parade and having a big fancy dinner. Is he being banished to the dungeon to eat a pot noodle until the Americans leave? It just sounds like a scene out of Fawlty Towers. Don't let him go. Don't let the president go in there, Prince Andrew said. Don't go right, because there's a big projection of him and Jeffrey. We can't let him see the truth. It's the Emperor's New Clothes, live streamed in real time, and it's shameful that the BBC and Sky News and all these people are somehow trying to make us feel proud. I don't feel proud. I'm ashamed of the UK today. And that's all I want to say. This is the news on You Call That Radio. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to hear the rest of the show, then just search You Call That Radio on Apple, Spotify, or any podcast app. If you're already listening to the audio podcast, then do nothing. We'll just move on to the next thing. Radio.